I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on, and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man, or something that looks like a man. I don't know what it was, just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it, but whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now, and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Dia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Oh, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big, real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see with it, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black, and he's big. He is big.
Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, and thank you if you just subscribed. I'm blown away about all the people that's joined my channel recently, and I am so excited to get to know you. If you don't know much about me, I'm Cindy Kay. I'm here to talk about weird things. I'm not really into the paranormal a whole lot, but I am into the things that are being seen, like the Bigfoot and the UFOs and things like that I have experienced in my personal life. And so I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about that today. So today we're talking about the Bigfoot DNA that possibly was found. This was happened in 1978. Now, if you've not watched my last video about could Bigfoot be cloaking himself and camouflaging himself and making himself invisible, I've put a link below down there so you can go and check it out, because it will make more sense to you why I'm having this follow-up video on the DNA that was found in 1978. So let's get into it. I'm going to glance over here every once in a while to my laptop because I've made a bunch of notes about it. And I've also put a link down there to Bigfoot encounters and a few other ones, and so you can go and check out their site too, where I got a lot of this information from. And yeah, it's out there. This isn't the first time this story has been told. But anyway, this is about in 1978 in Fort Lewis in Washington State. There was a young soldier there, and his last name was Cadoy. I think his first name was Edwin. Yeah, Edwin Cadoy. And he had been out in the forest that was close to this Fort Lewis, and they had been doing their war games out there all day and were coming back in their truck, and their vehicle broke down. It broke down in a very secluded area, and so the commander decided that he would take the troop and walk on to the base and get some help and send some mechanics out with a tow truck to take the truck back. But he needed to leave someone to guard the truck. And this Edwin Cadoy was left there. He thought it was kind of funny that he left him there by himself, because they usually at least left two people together. But he didn't question his commander, of course, and so he was left there. Sometime later that night, he saw a creature. He was silhouetted by the moonlight that was behind him. He was huge, hairy, and it looked like a Bigfoot. And he had glowing eyes. The creature stared at him for a minute and then started coming to him. So Cadoy sent a warning shot out and said, "Halt, don't come any closer." But the creature kept coming anyway. So Cadoy shot the creature. He shot him in the chest, and the creature grabbed his chest, screamed out a horrible sound of pain, and ran off. Sometime later, the mechanics did show up with the tow truck, and Cadoy was more than ready to tell them what had just happened to him. So they had radios back then, and so they began to radio back to the base what happened, what Cadoy had shot this creature, and there was blood everywhere. And so they sent out some men from the base in white coats, rubber boots, and rubber gloves to take blood samples of this creature. He noted that this creature's blood was red like ours, except it was really oily. So they took these samples, and there was also a huge footprint on the ground that is just like the typical Bigfoot prints that you see now. So anyway, strangely enough, they took these samples, he went back to the base, and he was ordered to go to the base hospital to get examined. And when he went there, there was an Air Force colonel there. Now, this is an Army base, not an Air Force base, but here comes in this colonel from the Air Force to examine him, and he did examine him. He gave him a physical examination. He took urine, he took skin samples, all kind, blood, saliva. He asked him if he had any tingling sensations on his body, a sore throat. He checked his body for a rash. He kept asking him over and over and over and over again what the creature looked like, how close he was to him when he killed him. And after he got through questioning him, Kadoy asked him, "Where did you come from? Why are you here?" And he never would answer him, even though he asked him several times. So he was sent back to the barracks, where he took a shower and rested a little bit. And then later, he was ordered to the base commander's office. The base commander was there with a company commander, Captain Underwood, he remembered. And there was a colonel, and to his best recollection, he believes his name was Cropsey. He was debriefed again. Same questions were asked about what happened in the woods. The base commander ordered Kadoy never to talk about the situation whatsoever, and threatened that if he did, he would be court-martialed. So he just thought, I'll never say a word. So he leaves there, but on his way back to the barracks, he was approached by a man named Robles. Now, this Robles worked and was commissioned to work in the hospital labs. He knew that. Well, he asked him what he shot, and he replied, "I'm not allowed to talk about it, and I'm not going to talk about it." So Robles began to share with him what they had discovered in the blood of this so-called Bigfoot Sasquatch creature. Robles said, and I'll quote, "I and 2 other guys had to study the blood samples taken from the ground, and we know you were the soldier that shot that thing, but when we examined the blood samples, we found 3 weird things. The blood contained human blood cells, animal blood cells, and chlorophyll." "Man," he said, "that's incredible." "What the hell was it?" he said. Kadoy, somewhat shocked by what Robles had revealed to him, stated, "I still can't talk about it," and he left. Looking back later at Colonel Cropsey, Captain Underwood, and all, they knew what they were dealing with, he figured out, and for that reason had ordered him to keep his mouth shut. He remembered while on the base at one time he had entered a security vault. If you hear something booming, it's somebody driving down my road with their loud music on. He remembered while on the base at one time he had to enter a security vault, and in there was a bunch of vials of these glowing greenish liquid. He never knew what it was. He kept it to himself, and this stuff was kept in tight security. He wondered if it was connected some way. And he got to thinking again why they left him alone there. Was he meant to meet this creature and just see what the results would be? Maybe he'd get killed or whatever. But he did feel that there was a government cover-up and a military cover-up, and whatever was going on in the Northwest wasn't to be told. Again, I said go check out the BigfootEncounters.com, and you can look at a lot of this stuff. Now, I want to address the chlorophyll. That seems outrageous, doesn't it? But there are so many things outrageous coming to the forefront now. Like a few years ago, Bigfoot was like, oh, come on, that's not true. There's no such thing as Bigfoot. And now a lot of people believe there's a Bigfoot. Even the skeptics are coming around, okay? So anyway, so I got to looking at some other websites and gathering information on some other people that have been wondering, what if Bigfoot had chlorophyll in his body, or a creature? How could that work? What things would they have they'd be able to do that we can't? You know, you already know if you listen to me that I believe that Bigfoot is one of many mixed creatures that were tainted, their DNA was tainted. Like in the Old Testament, it talks about fallen angels came down and they mixed their DNA with human women, and also, if you read the book of Enoch, it said with animals and birds and fish. Thus we have fairies, thus we have the Bigfoot, thus we have dog man, lizard man, and we have mermaids in the ocean and strange creatures. Not everything on this earth is God's creation. There's a fallen one out there that wants to take over the world, and so he wanted to make his own creation, his own super race. And now we have wicked men in high places and women trying to do the same thing. Why? It is to taint the pure seed so they can bring their seed into the earth. So in doing so, they have manipulated mankind and animal kind, and it's pretty sad, I think. But that's my take on it. So that's why I believe it has human and animal, and now this chlorophyll? So suppose this would happen. I got this from this website. The earth has oxygen and carbon dioxide content in its atmosphere as well as sunlight. If you want to cover these bases, wouldn't both hemoglobin with its oxygen transport potential and chlorophyll for its carbon dioxide reparative and nutrient transport be critical in a place with sunlight, oxygen, and carbon dioxide? You're talking about a being that could survive either imbalance in the atmosphere eventually. You'd have a creature that could breathe oxygen and also grow very rapidly like plants, utilizing a natural-made resource within it to nourish itself easily with a kind of sucrose effect, as well as be able to repair itself rapidly or go for periods of time without oxygen and be nourished by sun, by the things in the atmosphere. People have said, well, if Bigfoot exists this much, then there'd be no living creatures left. Well, what if it doesn't have to necessarily eat all the time and it gets its nutrients from the sun like plants and from nutrients in the ground? If this creature's hair was also transparent, there is every possibility, get this, that it could become cloaked in a greenish cast to blend right into the forest by utilizing a kind of stasis. Less oxygen in, less brown and red. Look to the skin and more green cast, which the transparent hairs would pick up. He'd have to adhere to a lower breathing level, it said, like meditation. Utilizing any sunlight available to increase the photosynthesis and green effect and raise his chlorophyll levels and lower the circulating oxygen. Now I thought it was funny because it also, on one side, it showed where the Bigfoot usually resides, and they're all residing around places with high magnesium content. Why? Because chlorophyll the plants have to have high magnesium contents. And so it's funny because here where we live, there are limestone, and there is also underwater resources that come to the surface, which bring a lot of magnesium it pulls out of the rock. So maybe that's why they're here. They're getting their fix of magnesium that they need to be healthy and grow. Now, this was one source from 1962, and that they had also done research. All this always gets suppressed, though, and it's just like by word of mouth, because all evidence gets destroyed or confiscated, you know. But after further investigation, he said, I found that these creatures were not human. They, in fact, had a remarkable rapid reparative process. Hence the reason one of the creatures seemed dead, but in fact was regenerating to a degree. Unfortunately, the restorative abilities of the creature were not enough to keep it alive. They were massive in size and distinctively a new, somewhat primate species unknown to science at the time. Well, I want to tell you that that is exactly what it said that would happen if they had chlorophyll in their bodies. This was taken in 1962, before the 1978 incident that happened with the soldier. I just think it's really crazy because that would explain why, if they are cloaking and camouflaging and able to make themselves invisible, which we in that last video proved that the military is working on that ability to, so they will be able to create a cloaking device for our soldiers today, that it is possible now. And he said in there, and I will repeat, that you could walk right up to them and run into them, and you wouldn't be able to see them until you ran into them and know that they were there. So that's what they're working on now in science, and it's possible, very possible. So did they learn this from way back? Who put the chlorophyll in these things and why? You know, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. But I think that's pretty interesting. So anyway, I'm not here to convince you that's what it is, because I don't know either. I'm just sharing what's on the web, and I'm sharing what I found out, and I thought it was really interesting. It kind of goes with the cloaking ability they are said to they may have now. How do they have it? This may explain why. Who put that in them? Some person, somebody, something. Okay, I am going to put a video up in a couple of days, maybe tomorrow if I can, about angels, good and evil, about the good and evil angels, the spirits, and what I encountered before I came to the Lord and after, and tell you a little how you can tell the difference, and so you won't get fooled. There's things that you can test. There's things that you can figure out if you know the keys. And so I hope I can give you a couple of keys so you won't get fooled by a wicked angel, because they do come as angels of light. They able to come and look very beautiful, and under their cloak of over their cloak of darkness, they will look glittery and all pretty and sweet, and inside they've got an agenda, and it's wicked. Okay, I'm going to talk to about that later. Leave me a like below and let me know what you thought. And anyway, if you didn't like it, then just go on down the road. You don't have to listen, okay? You don't have to watch. Don't be rude. But anyway, I just want to point that out. And it's something to think about, isn't it? We're all trying to figure out what in the world's going on around here. And we know there's some weird things going on in this world. We don't know everything. We all know if we watch TV at all, there's been a lot of cover-ups on a lot of things. So it's no new news. We all know it happens. People in wicked high places do wicked things if they can get away with it. That's the way it's been since the beginning of time. Good and evil battling against each other, doing things to tear up the pure and holy things that were put on this earth to be beautiful. We just are finding out there's more and more messes than we thought. Okay, y'all, I've also had a couple of new experiences. I'm just gathering some information on what happened, because it sounded like somebody tooted a horn at me last night on my property, but it wasn't really a horn. I don't know what it was. But I'm going to start taking my camera out at night. Hopefully I'll pick up some of this. Still getting rocks clicking at me, and when I say hello, they do it again, you know. So whatever it is, I don't know. I hope I'm not talking to any spiritual things. And yeah, we do live in Indian territory, so it could be some of that. But I tend to think this is a living, breathing, maybe chlorophyll-filled creature of some kind. Okay, y'all, have a good weekend. And again, if you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so. I try to answer everybody, but hey, man, I've almost got 1,000 subscribers. Share my videos. I couldn't believe it. Thank you for everybody that's subscribed. I really appreciate it. I think it's amazing. I love to talk, and I love people, so come on with it, y'all. Let's just discuss this thing, okay? All right. Thank you. Bye.